It was a crisp autumn afternoon in suburban Connecticut, the kind where golden leaves scattered the ground and the air smelled faintly of firewood. Rachel Morgan, a 47-year-old interior designer known for her refined taste and vibrant energy, had just pulled into the driveway of her colonial-style home. The day had been long, filled with meetings and demanding clients, but she was glad to be back in the sanctuary of her home. Her husband, Andrew, a high-powered attorney, was in Washington, D.C., for a case that had been consuming his schedule for weeks. That left Rachel alone in the house with her 28-year-old stepson, Luke, who had temporarily moved back in while transitioning between jobs. Rachel didn't mind. She enjoyed having someone around the house while Andrew was away. Luke, after all, was polite, charming, and always had an easy laugh. But something felt different that day. As she stepped through the front door, kicking off her heeled boots and setting down her leather handbag, she noticed the house was unusually silent. Normally, Luke would have music playing or the TV on in the living room. Today, there was only quiet. She climbed the staircase to her bedroom, the creaking wood beneath her feet breaking the stillness. Her bedroom, tucked at the end of the hall, was her refuge, a place where she could shed the weight of the day and indulge in peace. She closed the door behind her, savoring the privacy, and began changing out of her tailored outfit. As she slipped off her blouse, preparing to pull on a cozy sweater, a soft knock startled her. "Luke?" she called out, her voice calm but curious. It wasn't unusual for him to seek her out with questions or casual updates. "Can you give me a moment? I'm changing." There was no reply, just the faint sound of the door handle turning. "Luke!" she said, sharper now. But the door opened anyway. She froze as he stepped in, his eyes widening as they met hers. She was standing there, caught mid-change, her blouse hanging loosely in her hands. Luke immediately turned his gaze away, his face flushing with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry," he stammered, backing toward the door. "I didn't mean to. I thought—" Rachel, her heart racing, clutched her blouse to her chest. "What are you doing?" she demanded, her voice trembling with shock and anger. "I thought you said I could come in," he said, his words tumbling over themselves. "No, I didn't," she snapped, stepping forward and slamming the door shut as he retreated into the hallway. For a long moment, she leaned against the door, trying to catch her breath. What had just happened? And why had Luke ignored her clear request for privacy? The atmosphere in the house changed after that. Luke avoided her, spending most of his time in his room or out of the house entirely. Rachel, meanwhile, found herself uneasy in her own home, replaying the moment in her mind. She tried to convince herself it had been an innocent mistake, but a gnawing doubt lingered. Finally, 3 days later, she decided she couldn't let the awkwardness fester. She found Luke in the kitchen, absent-mindedly flipping through his phone while waiting for his coffee to brew. "Luke," she said firmly, standing at the kitchen island, "we need to talk." He looked up, startled, and then nodded, setting his phone down. "Okay," Rachel took a deep breath. "About what happened the other day," she began, her voice steady. "Why did you come into my room when I clearly told you I was changing?" Luke's expression shifted, his easy demeanor crumbling into discomfort. "I don't know," he said, avoiding her gaze. "I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry." "That's not good enough," Rachel pressed. "You're almost 30 years old. You know better than to invade someone's privacy like that." He fidgeted, his hands clenching and unclenching. "It wasn't intentional, I swear," he said, his voice low. "I don't know why I did it. I don't know." Rachel folded her arms, studying him. There was something in his tone, an unease she couldn't quite place. "Luke, if there's something more going on, you need to tell me." He hesitated, his face pale. "I've been confused," he admitted. "About how I feel. It's stupid and wrong, and I hate myself for it, but I've been thinking about you in ways I shouldn't." Rachel felt her stomach drop. She'd suspected something was off, but hearing him say it aloud was a different matter entirely. She struggled to find the right words, her mind racing. "Luke," she said finally, her tone firm but not unkind. "What you're feeling isn't uncommon, but it's not something you can act on, and it doesn't excuse what you did. You need to talk to someone, a therapist maybe, someone who can help you sort through this." He nodded, his shoulders slumping. "I know. I'll get help. I don't want to feel this way, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable." Rachel exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and lingering unease. "I'll tell your father when he gets back," she added. "He needs to know, and we'll handle this together as a family." The conversation ended with a fragile understanding. Luke promised to seek help, and Rachel hoped that time and distance would help repair the boundaries that had been crossed. For now, she focused on maintaining the stability of their family, determined to navigate this complicated chapter with grace and discretion. But the incident, though confined to the walls of their Connecticut home, would remain a quiet reminder of the complexities lurking beneath the surface of even the most picturesque lives.